we have the alkyl group. So now what is meant by alkyl group? That alkyl group, one of the hydrogen from alkane, one of the hydrogen from alkane is removed. One of the hydrogen from alkane is removed. The reactive species, ये कोई कंपाउंड नहीं होगा, that is the species. Reactive species will be formed, and such a reactive species called as alkyl group. So basically this is not a compound, neither it is a molecule. It is highly reactive species which is formed by removing one of the hydrogen from the alkane. That is an intermediate species. कभी ऐसा existence में नहीं होता. That is intermediate. बीच में form हो जाता है और उसके साथ दूसरे का combination होके एक आधा नया compound बन जाता है. Understand? This is your alkane, and you are removing this one, so that you will get this type of species called as alkyl group. So how the alkyl group is formed? It is formed by removing one of the hydrogen from the alkane. That is either from primary carbon or from the secondary carbon or from tertiary carbon. You can remove it. Single hydrogen is to be removed from the alkane, and that can be from primary carbon or secondary carbon or tertiary carbon. And in that case, you will get highly reactive species called as alkyl group. So such a reactive species are not stable. Reactive means that is not stable. That will combine with some other functional group and it will form a compound, as we have studied in the last lecture. Okay. Now this R dash is just a representation of that alkyl group. So we have the list of alkyl groups. We have the list of alkyl groups, such as we can have that methyl. How the name is? That ANE from the name of alkane is replaced by YL, and in that case, this will be like this. We have the another one, ethyl, that is the C2H5 dash. Then you can have that N-propyl. So here it is a CH3, CH2, and CH2. That will be the N-propyl. Similarly, you can have that N-butyl or isopropyl first of all. Isopropyl, then that is like this. Then we have that N-butyl, that is obtained from butane. And how it is? It is obtained by removing hydrogen from primary carbon. Right? Yeah. Then we have that secondary butyl. In case of secondary butyl, you can have that secondary carbon with less hydrogen. Then we can have that isobutyl. This is not a derivative of butane, but it is of isobutane. And finally, we can have that third butyl. Third butyl as a CH3. And on this side, this is your tertiary carbon from which you are removing the hydrogen from isobutane. So in this way, we have the list of 8 alkyl groups that we have studied in the earlier lecture. Now once we have the alkyl group, we can have the functional group. Yeah, functional group is there.
Yes.
Okay. this functional group is a single item or a group of items, and that will determine all the properties of that compound. All properties are associated with the functional group present in that compound. So that is a single item or a group of items which imparts the properties to the compound, or you can say which can determine सारी properties जो है that are due to determined, which determines the properties compound. So how the properties are estimated? These properties are present on the basis of that single item or the group of items. Group of items which determine the properties of the given compound is called as, that will be called as a functional group, as we have studied earlier, right? Yeah. So we can have this halide. So you can have that Cl, or you can have that Br, or you can have that I. So this is for chloride, this is for bromide, and this is for iodide. So now if you combine this alkyl plus halide, then you will get a compound like alkyl halide. Alkyl group is R dash plus this one is X dash, and then you will get दोनों का combination R dash X. This is the bond between alkyl group and the halogen. Now if you substitute X by Cl, then alkyl chloride, you can have that RCl. Whenever you say this RCl, then you can say this is alkyl chloride. And you can have the examples of this alkyl chloride. How many examples? 8 examples are there. Right. Similarly, you can have this one, that alkyl bromide, and you can have that alkyl iodide. Alkyl iodide also. So these are the 24 formulas that you can obtain from the alkyl group by combining them with the Cl or Br or I. So that was also studied in the earlier. Now if you go for the alcoholic group, if you go for the alcohol, then this will be R dash plus OH, and the combination will be R dash OH, and this is a representation of alcohol. Now instead of this alcohol, you can have that R. So whenever you will say that is alcohol, it will have this type of group. In the name, if there is an ending OL, means there is a presence of such a group in that compound. So you can have this one as a methyl alcohol. You can have this one. This is ethyl alcohol, and this ethyl alcohol is a major constituent of almost all beverages. जितनी beverages है उन सब का major constituent होता है ethyl alcohol. फिर दूसरा भी नाम पढ़ेंगे हम इसका, लेकिन आज नहीं. Then you can have this type. This is N-propyl. This is N-propyl, and there is a presence of OH group. So you can say it is
N-propyl alcohol.
Right.
Propyl alcohol.
N-propyl alcohol. So if you go for the another one like this, yes, what should be the name of this compound? Name of this compound should be
isopropyl alcohol.
No.
Tertiary propyl alcohol.
Galat. This one is third butyl alcohol. This part is third butyl. This part is third butyl, and you are having that OH group. So the name will be third butyl alcohol or tertiary butyl alcohol. right? Okay. Yeah, this one. See what is the difference? See what is the difference between these two compounds? So what should be the name first of all?
N-butyl alcohol.
No. Also, what's the name? Yes. Is it a isobutyl alcohol?
Yes.
Yes, it is isobutyl alcohol. Now, what is the difference between these two? See, both of them have that C4H9 and OH group. Both of them contains 4 carbon, 9 hydrogen, and 1 OH group. This also contains 4 carbon, 9 hydrogen, and 1 OH group, right? So these two
Yes.
compounds, यहाँ पे this type of carbon is known as primary carbon, whereas this carbon is known as yeah, tertiary. Well, that's why the name is tertiary is there in the name. This type of carbon is a tertiary carbon and it holds the functional group. The functional group is attached with this tertiary carbon and that's why this is a butyl alcohol. Whereas this one is a primary carbon having that OH group. Now these two compounds are called as these two are called as these two
Isomers.
compounds are called as isomers having same formula but different structural arrangement. So in that case that will be called as simply isomer, right? Both of them are the alcohol. So I think there is somewhat a need for the revision of the 8 alkyl groups. Unless and until you know all this very confidently, then you can't say this is that compound particularly. Okay, say this is your yes. What is the name? And propyl. And propyl. Then we have this one. Right. Now, if we are having that functional group as alcohol, this will be alcohol. If we have this carbon with OH, then this is alcohol. Right? Now, ये तो सभी जानते हैं इसको मिथिल बोलते हैं और इसको इथिल बोलते हैं. इसमें हमारा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता, right? But these are the two that are obtained from propane, so that is propyl, n-propyl and isopropyl. Similarly, हमारे पास ब्यूटेन के है. ब्यूटेन के 4 अल्किल ग्रुप हम बनाते हैं. देखते हैं कौन से है. So you got this the difference. This one is the primary while this one is the secondary, right? Why secondary? Because OH group is added to secondary carbon, whereas this is attached to primary carbon. So that will be the primary type of alcohol. So 4 अल्किल ग्रुप्स तो आपके अच्छे से होना चाहिए था. मिथिल, इथिल, एन प्रोपिल एंड आइसोप्रोपिल. ठीक है. Now the remaining 4 are this one. This is what
N-butyl.
N-butyl. And then there is a functional group as OH, so you can write here O alcohol. If here it is Br, then you can write
Bromide.
bromide. And this one is there. This is your secondary butyl. How many carbon atoms are there? 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is your secondary butyl. If you write here I, then this will be secondary butyl iodide. We go for the next. Then this species will be called as isobutyl, and here it is OH group, so I will write I will write alcohol. So this is isobutyl alcohol, and one left is that what? CH3C. Okay. So anywhere I can have that open valency. So this particularly is known as
tertiary butyl.
butyl. See what is the difference? यहाँ पे CH है, यहाँ पे C है. That is the difference. So this one is the third butyl alcohol. So whole everything जो हम कल से कर रहे हैं, that is based on the 8 alkyl groups and 4 to 5 functional groups, right? So all that was a revision for yesterday's lecture. Now once we have the functional group, you can have the number of preparations, number of compounds you can prepare. Yesterday we have finished near about 50, right? So now
Yes.
just we have to write the name of, here it is a name, N-propyl iodide. Now you can write the formula for this compound, just what I had written earlier. ऐसे आपको इसका formula लिखना है पेपर पे, then I will tell you with this. Next one is can you write the formula for these two compounds?
Yes.
Okay, just write. Just write first, then I will write here. You can check it. Just write these three. Have you finished it? No?
No.
Okay, just finish it. Yes, is that over?
Yes.
Okay. So I will write it here and profile as this one. I have written like this.
Yes.
Is it correct? Okay. Then can go for N-butane. Just check everything. 2, 3, bond, carbon, and everything is alcohol, so there should be OH group. Okay. Then for isopropyl, I will write first of all isopropyl like this. Then there is the chloride, so I will write Cl. Yes, all the three are correct.
Yes.
All the three are okay. Can you write the name for this?
Yes.
Just write. Let's try for this two. Is it over?
No.
Okay.
झालं.
Okay. Now this one is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be isobutyl alcohol. Whereas this one is what? Secondary butyl alcohol. Yes, alcohol. And this should be specific to the spellings also. Just like formula, there is no need of excess of hydrogen or deficient hydrogen or carbon. Similarly, in the name also, there should be very perfect. While writing the names, perfection is also required.
Yes.
Is it correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So yesterday we have the variety of compounds such as alkyl chloride having format like this. General representation are Cl, that is your alkyl chloride. You can have 2 or 3 examples of this. That will be work for you. Then you can have that alkyl bromide. You can have 2 or 3 or 4 examples for this. You can have alkyl iodide. This is general representation. Alright. So they are commonly alkyl halide, right? Then we have studied that alcohol as R dash OH, right? You can have the 8 examples for this with names and formulas. This is your alkyl cyanide. Right? So if you go for this, then you can have the 48 compounds. You can go for these, then you can have the 48 compounds. 8 examples for this with name and formula, 8 compounds, 8 compounds, and 8 and 8 and 8. So in this way, you can have the 48 compounds with their common names, with their only common names, and their formulas you can write very well. Is it so?
Yes.
Okay. So you can have this list, and in accordance with this, you have to give the 8 examples with the names and their formula, and that should be very correct. Okay, that is the work for you for tomorrow. So shall I wipe this?
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll go for some other things. We're studying what? Initially, saturated hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons with the carbon-carbon single bond, that is the identification. Having carbon-carbon single bond. And the general formula as CN H2N plus 2. So what is that?
Alkane.
Alkane, and called as a parent hydrocarbon of any compound. जो भी नाम होगा इसी नाम में आप चेंज कर सकते. You have the list of 10 alkanes, methane, ethane, propane. Yes, you have the list.
Yes.
Okay, methane है आपके पास, ethane है, then you can have that propane, then you can have that butane. Up to this, these are somewhat different names that are derived from their sources. But onward is just on the number of carbon atoms. Pentane means 5 carbon. Then we have that hexane. How many carbon atoms? 6. Then heptane as the 7 carbon. Then we have that octane as 8. Then nonane as 9 carbon, and decane with 10 carbon. If number of carbon atoms are 10, number of carbon atoms are 10, then by this general formula, how many hydrogen atoms will be there? H22, right? So if it is 9, then if here it is 8,
18.
right? So you can have the structures of these compounds. If I have to write like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. None of the carbon is shown. None of the hydrogen is shown. CH3 is here. Here is the CH3, and in between the CH3 there are 8 CH2. Right?
Yes.
यहाँ पे CH3 होगा एक नंबर पे, यहाँ पे 10 हो गया आपका सेकेंड कार्बन, थर्ड कार्बन, फोर्थ कार्बन, फिफ्थ, सिक्स, सेवंथ, 8, 9, 10. So at 1 and 10 there are CH3. In between these two this is the intersection of two lines, and if this is your intersection of two lines, then there should be 1 carbon and 2 hydrogen at the point of intersection of two lines. So in that case, what is the indication? Here it is your CH3 on carbon number 1, that was your square, whereas there are 8 CH2 that are in circle, and then finally you can have again one CH3. This is a short-term representation by using lines and the points of intersection, called as bond line formula, right? So you have the 10 alkyl. We have studied all these things before. And now we go for some unsaturated compounds. Unsaturated means those containing less hydrogen, or there is a presence of carbon-carbon double or triple bond, that are called as
Unsaturated.
unsaturated hydrocarbon. They are characterized by either carbon-carbon double bond, or there should be carbon-carbon triple bond. So you go for now. See what a confusing things are there. Initially you studied alkane, then you go for the alkyl, and now you are switching to alkene. Yes, similarity is there in the names.
Yes.
So these are the unsaturated hydrocarbons with why they are the unsaturated? Because they are deficient in hydrogen. They are deficient in hydrogen. That's why they are called as unsaturated, having carbon-carbon double bond, and general formula is like this. जितना कार्बन होगा उसका डबल हाइड्रोजन यहाँ पे होना चाहिए. Now you have to start with carbon-carbon double bond, means minimum requirement आपका 2 कार्बन का होना चाहिए, right?
Yes.
2 कार्बन होना ही चाहिए. तो हाइड्रोजन कितना होना चाहिए? C. So now this is what C double bond C, ये तो जरूरी है. Now if you go for the valency of this carbon, then these are the 2 valencies and 2 are left. So I can have like this CH2, here it is CH2, here it is CH2. So this is what C2H4. If you go for this, how many carbon atoms are there? 3, right? In between any 2 carbon, you can place the double bond. Okay. Now, how many valencies of this carbon? 2. So, how many hydrogens are required? 2. What about this carbon?
1.
So, only single hydrogen will be needed. What about this? 3
3.
hydrogen atoms are required. So the formula will be पहला CH3 है आपका, then CH है, then double bond CH. Similarly, you can go for the higher compounds, but before that we will go for the names. Now this is a compound in which two hydrogen atoms are less than the parent alkane. Alkanes are the parents. Now here it is your name. That ANE is replaced by ENE. So what was the name initially? Ethane. That was ethane, C2H6. You have the two hydrogen atoms are less here. So now this will be yes, ethene. If you go for this, then this was your propane. Now AN is replaced by EN. So this will be the name of this compound. You got
Propene.
this? Propene. See what the difference is there. Very small differences are there in the name or in the pronunciations. Right? Now we'll go for the four carbon atoms. We'll go for the four carbon atoms. So what should be the name? If there are four carbon atoms and in between them there is a double bond, then that will be butene, right? C4H8. Now this can be represented in two ways. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here also the four carbon atoms, right? Now
Yes.
if I put the double bond here, then here are two hydrogen, here single hydrogen, here two, and here three. Let's count the hydrogen atoms.
8.
Is it 8? Okay. Now I will again condense it. This is what? CH3, and this will be CH2, then this is what? CH, and then CH, right? This is a one compound. So you go for this. I place the double bond in between these two carbon atoms now. Two carbon atoms are there. 1, 2, 3. CH3, CH. Okay, what about this? Again 3. Right? What about the middle carbon?
C.
Single hydrogen. Okay. So this will be CH3, CH double bond, CH single bond, CH. Now both of them have the same formula, but somewhat difference is there. What difference you observe? That double bond is in between two carbon atoms. One of them is primary and another one is secondary. Now this is the position number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So carbon number 1 carries double bond. So I will write now but 1 ENE. लिखना ऐसे है, बोलना कैसे है? 1 ब्यूटीन बोलना है, बोलना 1 ब्यूटीन है, लिखना ब्यूट 1 ENE लिखना है आपको. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे चलते, यू कैन गो नंबर ऑन दिस साइड और दिस साइड, किधर से भी नंबरिंग करिए. जैसे भी करते हैं तो कार्बन नंबर 2 will have the double bond. So this is also butene, but carbon number 2 carries double bond, so butene. Now while numbering these carbon atoms, while writing the name of these alkenes, we have to consider that carbon as a first carbon from either end. इस एंड से शुरू कर सकते हैं, इस एंड से भी शुरू कर सकते हैं, but that number should be list. So what this indicates? This is what a position of carbon carrying double bond. Carbon carrying double bond should get a least possible number from either end. इस साइड से शुरू करते हैं तो you will get carbon number 3. That will not be correct. इधर से शुरू करते हैं तो this will be carbon number 1 carrying double bond. So this is 1 butene and this is 2 butene. These two are called as
Isomers.
Isomers. Now what is the difference between these two isomers? There is a position difference in the position of double bond. Carbon carrying double bond has a different positions. Here the first carbon carries a carbon-carbon double bond, whereas here the carbon number 2. On this side also you can get the 2 butene. You can number it from either end, so that carbon carrying double bond should get a least possible position or the number. Got it?
Yes.
So in this, we have the four alkenes. One more can be obtained. So shall I write this?
Yes.
Okay. These two are called as position isomers. Now we have this can be like this. Now you have to remove the two hydrogen from two different carbon atoms. You have to remove. This is isobutane, right? This is isobutane. Now you have to remove two hydrogen from two different carbon atoms which are adjacent to each other. So I will use this carbon and this carbon. Then एक यहाँ से कम कर देते हैं, एक यहाँ से. And now see, right? Now you can place a double bond between two carbon atoms. कहाँ रखूँ? यहाँ रख देते हैं. Okay, रख दिया. What about the valency of this carbon?
Only one is like
No, nothing is left. All the four valencies are satisfied. What about this? What about this three? Just count the carbon. Just count the carbon. 4. Count the hydrogen atoms. 8. So can I write like this? CH3, C, CH3. This will be isobutene. Now what is the difference between that one butene, two butene and this isobutene? वो दो position isomers थे, whereas this one is a chain isomer. There is a difference in the chain. Here is a chain carrying 3 carbon in which double bond is there. Previously, the chain carrying double bond was consisting of 4 carbon atoms. So these are the chain isomers also. Before इसके पहले जो देखा था वो दो position isomers था जहाँ पे difference in position of the carbon carrying double bond हमने consider किया था. Now here is you are considering the chain. So that will be the chain isomers. तो ये तो सब बाद में भी कर सकते हैं हम. Okay. Now instead of this, you can hold for these alkenes. You can have this one. You can have the another name also. Ethylene. Do you know this? Ethylene?
no.
You know polythene?
Yes.
बहुत सारे this type of molecules are linked together and it forms a long chain compound that is called as a polythene. Basic unit ये होता है उसका ethene. इथीन जो है उसका बेसिक रिपीटिंग यूनिट है. इसको एक दूसरे से जोड़ के बना देते हैं आप पॉलीथीन. अंडरस्टैंड? ओके. नाउ दिस स्ट्रक्चर यू कैन हैव दिस लाइक that is what CH2 double bond CH2. That was your ethene. You go for the C3S6. Then यहाँ पे दो अलग अलग चीजें बनती है. Okay. We go for this. Then what is the name? 1-butene. You can go for this also. This is also a position isomer. And if you go for this, so this will be your isomer. So these are somewhat 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 alkenes. You can go for pentane also. Can you? This is up to the 4 carbon. You can go for the 5 also. So shall I write this?
Yes.
Okay. to know this. Right? This was your pentane. And if you remove the two hydrogen atoms, then but this is not very clear. Where is the double bond? Right? Just 2 or 3 minutes I will continue. I will write like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So where I should place the double bond? Just at the terminal. Okay. Here single hydrogen, here 2, here 2. Can you write like this? Yes. So I condense it. So what should be the name?
20 and 1
Okay.
in.
So this is your first carbon, right?
Yes.
Now instead of this, if you go for this type of arrangement, see here. I will not write this. Then
Pen 2 in.
Pen2ENE, right? The next compound is Pen2ENE, right? Now instead of this, if you go here, then
Pen 2 ENE.
now the numbering इस side से किया आपने correct है? क्यों? So this carbon will get the least possible position. Now instead of this, I have the arrangement of 3 carbon, 4 carbon, and I have this one on the side, right? And I place the double bond here. So is it possible for you to write the name?
Pen 2 in.
ओके पेंट नहीं होगा, इसके लिए हमको रूल सीखने पड़ेंगे, एंड दैट इज फॉर राइटिंग द IUPAC नेम्स. ओके, सो you know this one? You know this one?
Yes.
What is that? Methyl. Methyl. Is it so? This will be methyl. Yes. So tomorrow we'll deal with this IUPAC nomenclature. Okay. So
Yes.
we'll stop now. We'll stop now. So you will get the recordings.
Yes.
Yes.